first piece of FPL content. Welcome back to FPL. We've been back at it for a few weeks now, for sure. But there are some really exciting prices to discuss today. So we're going to work backwards from Everton, Palace, Leicester, Spurs in that order. And then around 6 o'clock, obviously, we're going to jump over and look at the Nottingham Forest prices. Once we've got all of them, we're then going to build a couple of drafts again, as we have been on the previous live streams. And then that's it. Then we're waiting for the game to go live, which should be, fingers crossed, tomorrow. I think at the very latest, it should be Wednesday. Spurs a little pricey. They are a little bit pricey. We will get on to discussing Spurs. Probably in about 15, 20 minutes, we'll get on to Spurs. It's midnight in Malaysia. Good to see some international people tuning in as well. Love to see it. Hi from Bermuda. I see you've been in a few, Firetog. 4th of July. Oh, it is the 4th of July, isn't it? Didn't realise. Evening, Ross. Finally starting to feel ready for the madness again. Good to see, Matt. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Greetings from Romania. Good to see you from Romania as well. I'm very tired. Someone just asked how I am. I'm very tired. I got back from the gym at 5:15 and then scrambled to get this. I already had the graphics made for most of the teams. Just had to get one more graphic made and then obviously set up the live stream as well. So it was a bit of a mad panic at the last minute. I stayed at the gym longer than I thought I was going to be at the gym. Hey, Ross, love the content. Thank you very much, Ian. I appreciate that. Mike Hunt. I'm not going to say it very quickly. Good to see you, Mike Hunt. Good evening. Why did Everton run out of players? God knows. God knows. We want them to just launch the damn game. We do. We've wanted that for about 4 weeks, to be fair, but they have to tease it a little bit, don't they, to be fair? Vardy, super interesting. Indeed, I'm very interested in a couple of those Leicester players, actually. Robert says, just check my comment a bit earlier, Ross, regarding 5 million forwards and mids. What did you say, Robert? I really think we should start building drafts with 5 million mids and forwards on the bench to avoid shock and disappointment. So I did say in yesterday's stream, I don't know if I was the first person to say this. I probably wasn't, so I'm not going to try and claim that it was some sort of innovative comment. But we were streaming yesterday, and we quickly realised that we haven't seen any £4.5 million midfielders or £4.5 million forwards, which has got me thinking, have they potentially made the new baseline £4.5 million forwards and mids suddenly 5 million, i.e. you can no longer get a £4.5 million mid or forward? The alternative to that is, as Late Riser said, maybe they've made some of these CDMs 5 million and 5.5 because there's going to be some rule changes where maybe we're getting points for interceptions, points for tackles, stuff like that, or maybe they get 2 or 3 points for a clean sheet, a CDM. If a CDM suddenly got 2 or 3 points for a clean sheet, all of a sudden you're starting to think maybe you play with a £5 million CDM from, I don't know, if we can get like Declan Rice at Chelsea or something like that. I think he's £5 million, someone like that. And you think all of a sudden, if they pick up the odd assist, getting extra points for clean sheet. So I guess there's no point hypothesizing because we're going to get that tomorrow. But it is interesting to see that at the moment, we haven't had any £4.5 million mids and forwards. And I know a lot of people are saying it's because they're not exciting. Like, why would they bother announcing a £4.5 million midfielder in these like top 11 players from each team? The reason that I do still think there's a small chance is because Romeo and Cook and a couple of these other CDMs, they would almost always be £4.5 million mids. So why are they all of a sudden 5 million? Let me know in the chat what you think about it. Again, I probably wasn't the first person to think of it, but it just hit me on yesterday's stream. I was like, hang on a second. We haven't got any £4.5 million midfielders and defenders. Forwards, I should say. Also, we've got FPL Team Peter in the chat. So if you want to know the site that we're constantly using, you want to know the man responsible for it, if you want to thank him in the chat, Peter is in the chat. A good friend of mine. I'd call you a friend, Peter, right? Good friend of mine. We played at Game Week 39 together as well. Met up with him a few times in real life as well. So really, really nice guy. He's the one that creates the site that we build all of the drafts for as well. Again, Peter doesn't pay me, even though he should, to use the site in these videos. It's just a very, very good site, and it's completely free to use as well. Right. I'm going to take a quick swig of my drink, and I'm going to move on to looking at Everton. Very excited. So, like I said, it worked really well yesterday. We're going to... Oh, God, I swallowed it down the wrong hole. I'm going to breathe in a litre of squash. We're going to work backwards. Everton, Palace, Leicester, Spurs. Hopefully that takes us to around 6 o'clock. And then we're going to look at Nottingham Forest. Once we've done that, we're then going to move on to building a draft together. And I'm going to show you some of the variations of teams that I'm currently thinking about, given the prices that we've got. But of course, as we move on with it, these templates are going to change. Some of us will go big at the back. Some of us will go 3 at the back. Some of us will go 3 premiums. Some of us will ignore Salah to our own detriment. I probably won't, but we're going to get onto that in a second. So starting with Everton, Let me know in the chat, what do you think about the Everton assets? What are you thinking about the pricing of them? What are you thinking about potentially picking them? Of course, for all of these teams, the reason I make the graphic like this is you can see just above them there are the fixtures as well. So Chelsea game week 1's not ideal. Then they've got 4 really nice fixtures, and then there's a dodgy fixture. So it's basically 2 difficult fixtures sandwiched either side of 4 decent ones. Villa, Forest, Brentford, Leeds is actually quite a nice run. So if you can get away with benching one of the Everton assets in game week 1 and game week 6, I really wouldn't mind playing them between between game week 2 and game week 5. For me, the assets that stand out as being decent price is Tarkowski and Mikalenko. Coleman could be if he continues to hold down that right back spot, but of course they have Mason Holgate that can play out there as well. And I just think that he is still obviously their club captain, but he is getting older and older, and I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep it up. But Tarkowski, we know he's a machine in the air. We've seen that previously for Burnley, and Mikalenko looked really good towards the back end of last season. So I don't mind both of those at 4.5. But again, at risk of repeating myself from previous streams, when you've got the likes of Ben White, when you've got the likes of Tomiyasu, when you've got the likes of Henry, Dunk, Lamptey, all of these different people, I just personally think that you can probably do better than a £4.5 million Everton asset. Probably at the start anyway. If Everton really improved based on last season, we saw that actually improve towards the back end of last season. Obviously, they were fighting for relegation. Then it might be the case that we can potentially look to bring in an Everton asset. What do you guys think, though? I know the main talking point is going to be Calvert-Lewin, but the defence, I think, is priced well. Tarkowski in particular at 4.5, I'm looking at. Graphics on the right were perfect for West Ham. Rice reveal, yeah, perfect. I'm trying to save space desperately when I was trying to make these graphics, to be fair. They have a good record against Chelsea at home. Do they, Jamie? That's interesting. I mean, you could potentially play. It's not ideal, though, is it? Building a game week 1 squad and having an Everton defender against Chelsea is probably not ideal, but maybe. Good to see Oscar in the chat, by the way, Mr. FPL Focal. You're probably only a couple of months, Oscar, from having a little tick next to your name on YouTube. 100,000 subscribers, probably not far off. If you've not yet subscribed to Oscar FPL Focal, get onto his channel now, FPL Focal on YouTube. Subscribe. I'm assuming if you're here, you're already subscribed, but one of the best, if not the best content creators in the game, without a shadow of a doubt. Not a single one is of interest. Calvert-Lewin's price is crazy, right? Yeah, let's discuss Calvert-Lewin then. £8 million, way too expensive. They've really missed a trick with Bamford and Calvert-Lewin. They could have even gotten down at 6.5, and I still think they would have been reasonably priced. I still don't think that many people would have chosen them, but at 7 million, I think that's reasonable. 8 million is just a joke for Calvert-Lewin, and it was 7.5 probably for Bamford, but it just feels too much. Now, I understand why they've done this for Calvert-Lewin, right? Richarlison has now left, which means that Calvert-Lewin has absolutely no risk of rotation through the middle, and it means he's definitely on penalties. We had that last season where it was going between Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, depending on who was on the pitch, who was injured. Calvert-Lewin's on pens, Calvert-Lewin is starting, and we are expecting Everton to improve slightly this season. So I do understand why they've priced him a little bit more, but it just makes no sense now to be going with someone like Calvert-Lewin. I'd much rather, and I still think they're slightly overpriced, but I'd much rather Wilson at 7.5, Watkins at 7.5, Tony at 7, or even like an Undav at 5.5, something like that. So I think we could probably do better than Calvert-Lewin, and I've seen a lot of people have held a very similar opinion to that. What do we think? Yeah, there are better defensive options than Everton. I agree, Frosty. What colour is your hair? Transparent. My hair is like very dark. It's like the same sort of colour as my beard. It's very dark. I don't have any of it, but when it grows through, it's very dark. Which is why I look even balder. Right, you can get away with having like a bald spot when you're like ginger or like light coloured hair because you can't really see it as much. Like, because my hair's so dark, it just highlights. We see the bald. Why is everyone commenting on my bald head and not on FPL? It's the first time I've had the bald head out in a while, to be fair. I'm usually wearing a cap. There we go. Why are you expecting Everton to improve? It's more sort of they can't get any worse. Maybe it's a little bit of gambler's fallacy there. They're almost expected to improve because they've done so poorly previously, but I'm not necessarily sure that they're going to see massive improvements. I'm not expecting them to like push for Europa, but I would expect them to survive comfortably with the squad they've got. We'll have to wait and see, though. Everyone's like really confident the game's going live this evening, or they're just trolling. The game's not going live this evening. It'll be going live tomorrow. I think tomorrow they won't release it at 9 because that's too obvious, and they'll be too worried about loads of people logging on. The game will go live between 10 and 12, in my opinion. They won't push the game out in the evening because developers need to work, and in case there's any issues, they're not going to push it out on the developers. Developers work 9 till 5, especially the ones that they've got, mainly anyway. So I think I would be surprised if they push it out sort of 5, 6 p.m. We'll have to wait and see that. I think it will be at like a random time, like 10:48 or something like that. It will just be at a random time. They won't schedule it at an obvious time like 9, 10, 11 or midday because, like I said, they won't want too many people to log on at once and crash the site. We've seen in the past that does happen. 10 a.m. with a teaser at 9:45. I don't think they'll tease it. Their developers are US based. Oh, okay. That throws something. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. Right, anyway, Everton, I'm not going to talk about Everton much more. Gordon's overpriced. Pickford, I'm not going to go for. The defence could be specifically Tarkowski and Mykolenko. Calvert-Lewin is at least 0.5 overpriced, probably 1 million overpriced. By the way, never give up FPL. Thank you for becoming a member. I do appreciate that very much. If you do want to become a member, the information as to how to become a member will be rotating above my head. Right, the next team after Everton, or before Everton, was Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace didn't tweet the graphic. They did the same as, was it Villa? They just tweeted a link to their site with loads of boring graphics and boring sentences. Someone else tweeted the graphics. I don't even know where they got the graphics from. So we'll have to wait and I don't know how. I assume it was on the FPL site, but I just grabbed someone's tweet and saved them. But here are the Palace prices. Now, I'm absolutely gutted about the opening fixtures for Palace because if you watched my video, my season review video, I said that my team to watch for the new season, my team that I expected to do incredibly well this season was Palace. And my player to watch, the player that I thought could explode and be really good value was Elise. So I was really looking at potentially going at least a double up on Crystal Palace from the start of the season. Their defensive data was exceptional last season. They were 4th in the league for expected goals conceded per 90. So we're looking at Crystal Palace. If they can keep that up and improve under Vieira, we're looking at a top 4, or at least a top 6 defence in the Premier League. And their attacking data improved towards the back end of last season as well. I think they could have some excellent options, and I'm really excited about picking them. It's just to have Arsenal, Liverpool and City in the first 4. It makes me think that maybe it's a bit of a wait and see with Palace. With respect to the pricing, again, similar thing we've got with what we've just seen with Everton, at mainly 4.5. However, with Everton, we're looking at a lower league, a lower bottom half of the table defence. With Crystal Palace, we're looking at, like I said, a top 4, top 6 defence. I genuinely think at various points, Anderson, Mark Gehi and Gaeta could be excellent value at 4.5 million. Outside of that, it's a bit of a wait and see. I saw FPL Focal put out a tweet like, choice of the 5.5. They've basically priced everyone else at 5.5. Got Elise, Eze, Edouard, and Mateta at 5.5 million. So most of their attacking options at 5.5. And then the FPL troll himself, Wilf Zaha, is at 7 million. So I think they're decent pricing. I don't think anyone's particularly overpriced here. Just due to the fixtures, though, it's a bit of a wait and see for me. What do you guys think for Crystal Palace? Yeah, Peter said, as a developer, I'd hate if my boss made me push out such a big change late in the day. Absolutely, and it's not to say developers don't work later. Like Peter works round the clock, but I do personally think that they're better pushing out in the morning in case there are issues. And again, if they work in the US, that could change it, but I genuinely don't know. Is there going to be any good I don't even know if there are going to be £4 million goalkeepers. I assume there are, but we haven't had any yet. At the moment, I don't know of any good £4 million goalkeepers. It's going to have to be a case where we get an injury or we just get a random benching like we saw last season. Backman was expected to start and then Foster suddenly started ahead of him. I don't see at the moment any good £4 million keepers, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll keep our eyes peeled pre-season for sure. Rory says, hi, when is the best time to become a member? Just before the start of the season. When the game goes live, as soon as you start wanting help, advice, and you want somewhere to chat. So the main benefits of being a tier 1 member is you can chat with other people and you can get my advice if you need it. I'm not saying I'm a great manager on your team. So whenever you want to start getting advice and you want to start chatting FPL, and obviously you get entered into our mini league as well. So yeah, anywhere from now, to be honest. Love some of the options. If we can work out which players are nailed, Mateta, Edouard, there could be some good value. Yeah. If either Edouard or Mateta is completely nailed on, I really like them as an option. I do really like Elise. I've just got a bit of a soft spot for him. I think he's an excellent footballer. More of the eye test than underlying data, but that could be a really, really nice option there as well. Probably only Zaha. No interest in Palace. There's not a lot of interest in Palace. They did have really good data last season. I know people are laughing at me saying they're a top 6 defence. They're a top 4 defence, according to underlying data. They conceded a few sloppy goals late on. Gaeta, I know a lot of people owned Gaeta at various stages. I think there was like 3 weeks in a row. Who got the assist? Tom. I remember he owned him for this period. He conceded like 3 goals, and all of them were in the last 5 minutes, like 3 weeks in a row. So their actual goals conceded in clean sheets might not look fantastic, but they did defend incredibly well. So I would keep an eye on Palace. That's all I'm going to say here. Keep an eye on Palace. In particular, Mark Gehi looked like an absolute monster from corners. Mitchell Anderson could be good. Tompkins at 4 million. If Tompkins somehow suddenly gets into the starting 11, could be a decent option, but he's very unlikely to. And then maybe just keep an eye on Elise, because I do think he could be a decent option at points. So that's Everton. That's Palace. We've got 10 minutes until the Forest reveal. Let's move on to Leicester. Now, this is a team which I guarantee is going to have significantly more interest than Everton and Palace, right? Leicester, I was having a chat with Late Riser yesterday, right? We was talking, we've got a bit of a like Man United group chat. We was talking about Leicester. Both myself, if you watch the FPL Wild, that's Prenil, Late Riser over there. He's got a feeling, and I would concur, that this could be quite a big season for Leicester. I think a lot of people have written them off for this season because of what happened last season. But what you need to realise last season is they had Europe and they had a ridiculous amount of injuries as well. I think people don't realise when you have Europe on a Thursday night in particular, if you're in the Europa Conference League or the Europa League, that puts a real strain on the Premier League. And with the amount of injuries they had, they really, really struggled. In particular, Vardy. If they can keep Vardy fit, or at least keep most of their other players fit, if Maddison can hit the ground running, they don't have Europe to worry about. I genuinely think Leicester could be finishing in the top 6, but I expect them definitely to improve based on what we saw last season. I think almost all of the players on your screen right now could offer really, really good value at various points. At what point you bring them in, that's up to you, really. You can see they've got Arsenal and Chelsea and United in their first 5. So realistically, if you wanted to, you could probably go without Leicester until your first wildcard. If you wildcard around maybe game week 8, game week 9, there's an international break around then. I think you could probably get away with wildcarding them in then. I don't think you necessarily need to start with them. But if you can get away with benching them in game week 2, game week 4, and maybe game week 5, and then starting them in 1, 3, and 6. Remember I said it's not always about starting them every game. You can rotate these players in. If that's the case, if you can get away with that, I don't mind the Leicester assets. The fact that Justin and Ricardo Pereira have both come in at 4.5 million is outrageous. I really, really, really think Ricardo could have and maybe should have been 5 million. If you look at the likes of Matty Cash and Trippier being 5 million, if Ricardo Pereira nails down a spot, and I haven't even seen Castagna here, assuming he can nail down a spot, whoever nails down the spots in right wing back / right back, left wing back / left back, I think they could be really good value for Leicester. The one that we all were waiting for, really, was probably Maddison, and I think they've probably nailed the Maddison pricing. I said yesterday at 7 million, he would have been straight in my team. 7.5, he would have really given me something to think about. 8 million, when you look at what they've priced like Bowen, Sancho, Foden, Saka, etc. at, I think 8 million for Maddison's probably correct. What do you guys think? Do you think Maddison is the right price? Are any of you considering Maddison at 8 million? Let me know in the chat, actually, who's your favourite £8 million mid? We've got Saka, Foden, Mount, Maddison. There's more. Mahrez. And then at 7.5, you've got Sancho. 8.5, you've got Bowen. Who's your favourite? Oh, Diaz as well. Bloody hell, I forgot about Diaz. Diaz at 8 million. Diaz is obviously the favourite. Yeah, Diaz by a mile. Diaz. Diaz. Bowen. I think if the fixtures weren't the way they are, maybe Bowen. Mount and Saka. I like Maddison over Saka, Mount. So my current thought process is I'd probably place Diaz at the top, right? So I'd say Diaz is probably my favourite at the moment. Then probably just about Foden, Mahrez. I'd like to get a City mid in. And then I'm probably looking at Maddison third, to be honest. He's nailed on, takes a lot of set pieces. And like I said, I really expect Leicester to hit the ground running. And with Maddison, Kulusevski as well. Bloody hell. Again, we're going to get onto Kulusevski. It's because the price was today, wasn't in my mind. But Kulusevski's another one at that price. There are a lot of good £8 million mids. A lot. Final two to discuss is the other two sort of marquee players. You can see just next to me there, we've got Vardy at 9.5. Maybe slightly overpriced Vardy. What do you guys think with Vardy? We spoke about this yesterday. I said he was going to come in between 8.5 and 9.5. He's coming on the higher side of that at 9.5. It's probably the correct price. If you think Ronaldo's in at 10.5, Haaland, and we're going to get onto KANE in a second, is at 11.5. 9.5 for a fully fit Vardy is probably a bargain. It's just how many he plays, to be honest, because you've got Daka and Iheanacho there at 6 and 6.5. They're not just going to sit on the bench all season. Is Vardy going to start the majority? They've got 5 subs now, so maybe Vardy starts almost every game and then comes off around 60, 65 minutes. If that's the case, you can no longer look at like per 90 statistics because he's not going to play 90 minutes every game. So I think it's maybe a wait and see for Vardy. I don't see a lot of people starting the season with him, but I do think at 9.5 he could be good value at points. If he was coming in at 8.5 or 9, I look at Vardy there and I go, oh, that's a really tempting option. Especially as we still don't have the price for Gabriel Jesus. If Gabriel Jesus comes in at 8.5 or 9, maybe you prefer to go there. I mean, we've got Jota and Darwin Núñez as well at 9 million. So maybe you just go for one of the Liverpool strikers if you want to take a slight risk. What's everyone saying? Too streaky for 9.5 million, should be 8. I agree, maybe he is a little bit streaky. Especially not only with his goals, but with his fitness as well. Vardy should be 9 maximum. He will play 60 to 70 minutes. Yeah, maybe 9 million would have been a better price for Vardy. Back on the £8 million discussion. My current draft has Saka, Luis Diaz, and Maddison. Yeah, I like those 3 as your options. I think Luis Diaz and Maddison might be decent. We'll get Maddison into a draft in a second. The final one then is Barnes at 7 million. He, again, will be value at various points, but he did fall out of favour at various points last season. There were points when he just wasn't starting. He was getting hooked at 45 minutes in the Europa Conference League on 2 or 3 occasions. I want to see the way the season starts. He does tend to have a really good pre-season, though, Barnes. So we're going to have to wait and see how he does in pre-season. Wait and see how they line up, what formation they line up. Is it 3 at the back? Is it 4 at the back? How does that change how many forwards they can play? Do they play 2 up top? Do they play 3 up top? I want to wait and see what Brendan Rodgers does with Leicester, but I am interested in Maddison, Vardy, Barnes, and then one of maybe Justin or Ricardo Pereira, depending on who starts. Final team to look at then, before we move on to Nottingham Forest in about 5 minutes, is Spurs. Spurs. Right. There's lots to digest here. Let's start with KANE and Son. What do you guys think? What do you guys think with respect to KANE and Son's price? Do you think they've got it correct? Son was better last season. Son scored more points. Son scored more goals. Son was the better asset to own for most of the season. I don't know. I'm still surprised that Son's coming in at £0.5 million more than KANE. KANE's got penalties still, and penalties do matter. If KANE gets, 6 to 8 penalties a season, I know Son outscored him without penalties last season, but I don't know that I expect that to continue on a consistent basis. KANE is a world-class striker that knows where the back of the net is. I think they've priced KANE correctly. I think they could have got away with pricing Son the same as KANE. But then when you look at De Bruyne's 12 million, I guess they couldn't really get away with pricing Son less than De Bruyne. It makes no sense to price De Bruyne more than Son. So I sort of understand why they've got Son at 12. I understand why they've got him at 0.5 more than KANE. I just wonder whether we just go for KANE if we want to go for one of the Spurs boys. Of course, structure does dictate that. Maybe you want another premium midfielder as opposed to a premium striker. I just do think that they've maybe slightly got that one wrong. I'm now no longer interested in Son. I said for me, Son was going to have to come in at around 11 million. 11 million for me to be able to justify bringing in Son over Haaland or alongside Salah and Haaland as well. I think KANE will be the asset to own this year, in my opinion. I think KANE, out of all of the Spurs assets, KANE's probably the one for me. The other sort of marquee player that they flashed up is Perisic at 5.5 million. If Perisic does nail down the left wing back spot, Perisic is incredible value. I mean, absolutely excellent value. My issue with Perisic, I guess, is he going to nail down that left wing back spot? So they've got Sessegnon and Reguilon, right? 2 other very capable left wing backs. Yes, I know Conte apparently hates Reguilon or he's really out of favour. He's looking to sell him. He still does have him as an option though. And as far as I'm concerned, Sessegnon was excellent every time he was called upon last season. So he's not just going to bench Sessegnon. If you look at Perisic's last full season for Inter under Conte, he made a lot of substitutions, Conte, at around sort of 60, between 50 and 70 minutes. That worries me. Now that we have 5 subs in the Premier League, I'm very, very worried that Perisic sometimes won't even see out 60 minutes, or sometimes will come off the bench for 20, 30 minutes. I am personally worried about Perisic's minutes and whether we're going to see a lot of 0 and 1 pointers from him. If he does start, I think he's probably an absolutely excellent option. I genuinely believe that. What do you guys think about Perisic and his game time? 5.5 million, is he good value? I really don't know what to think. I just wonder, do we just go with Chilwell and James? I know they've also got worries with game time, but they're such known entities. Do you go with Chilwell and James, start with the double up there, and then potentially, after we see what Perisic is like, is he starting every game, then you can move to Perisic? Especially with the fact that they've got Chelsea and Wolves as 2 of their games in the first 3. They're not the easiest opening fixtures. What do we think? They both should be 12 million. I think we're agreeing. There's a bit of difference as to what we think the prices should be, but we're both agreeing generally that they should be the same price, I think. It would have been nice to see them at the same price. At 0.5 more, I think I'd just rather go for Kane with pens, to be honest. I'd prefer KDB over Son now. You won't be the only one. Saw you at the gym today, looking good. Wasn't sure if it would be weird to say hi. If you actually did see me at the gym, you can always come and say hello to me at the gym. That would be pretty weird, though. Not weird, but like funny that out of all of the gyms in the UK that you would be at the same gym. But by all means, come and say hello to me. If anyone sees me in real life, I've had a few people come up to see me that say they see me on YouTube in real life. It's not weird at all. It's absolutely fine. Arsenal now focus on Tielemans and Martinez. Hopefully we sign Martinez. I'm really hoping. And Lissandro Martinez looks like a proper footballer, like a really, really, really good footballer. I've been chatting to Pranil about Lissandro Martinez, and we both desperately want him. He looks versatile. He looks quick. He looks athletic. I'm going to go over and look at Nottingham Forest in a second. I just want to quickly finish up Spurs. Just do a couple minutes on Spurs, and then we're going to move over and look at the Nottingham Forest prices. The game's not going live. I'll eat my hat. I've got my hat in front of me. I'll eat my hat if the game goes live today. It's going to be tomorrow or Wednesday. Right. What else do we want to discuss here? Lloris at 5.5. A shame, but probably correct. I said at 5 million, Lloris was 100% in my team. At 5.5, I'd rather go for Mendy, or maybe 4.5, go for Raya. I'm still thinking I might go for a 5.5. Martinez is 5 for 8 and plays centre-back. Yeah, but he's excellent. The height doesn't matter. I've spoken to a few Ajax fans. I've seen what... He does not matter. You don't have to be the tallest. We saw Maldini wasn't the tallest centre-back in the world. Right. Sessegnon at 4.5. I'm really disappointed that Eric Dyer's at 5, considering you can just get Doherty for 5. I think Doherty's probably going to be the one, to be honest. I think Doherty at 5, whenever he's fit, doesn't look like he's definitely going to be fit for the start of the season. But whenever he is fit, I think Doherty's probably going to be the one to own. Romero could be the one to own, I guess, just for consistency of starts. But I think I'd rather go for Doherty or Perisic. And then the final one to discuss before we move over and look at the Nottingham Forest prices is Kulusevski. What do we think of Kulusevski at 8 million? Kulusevski at 8 million, what do you think? Yep, I'm going to build a draft in like 10 minutes. We're going to quickly finish off Spurs, move over to Nottingham Forest, and then I'm going to build a couple of drafts, and I'm going to maybe take a look at some of your drafts as well, guys. Kulusevski at 8. We've just spoken about sort of Saka, Diaz, Foden, Maddison. Is Kulusevski getting into your team at the moment? What about Richarlison? We don't have Richarlison's price at the moment. We're assuming... I'd assume around Kulusevski's price, 8 million. Especially seeing DCL was 8 million as well. I'd say about 8 for Richarlison. Yeah, I am worried. They've got Lucas Moura, they've got Richarlison. I am worried about his game time. Was Maldini short? Are you thinking of Cannavaro? Cannavaro was short. Maldini wasn't short. I was trying to think of sort of like a sub 6 foot player. I think Maldini was about 6 foot, wasn't he? There are plenty of sub 6 foot decent strikers. Thiago Silva's not the tallest. I can't think of many more off the top of my head. Cannavaro is a good example. Oh, Maldini was 6'2". There we go. Ignore me completely then. He looked shorter than that. 6'1", okay. But the point being that you don't need to be an exceptionally tall centre-back to be good at centre-back. Right. I think we're good there. I think we're good. To be honest, Kane and Perisic. Kane and Perisic is probably, in my opinion, the only two that I'd be... Puyol's a good one. Sorry, got distracted. Puyol's a great shout, 5'10". Perisic and Kane are probably the only two I'm probably looking at the moment. Let's move over to Twitter and have a look at the Nottingham Forest prices. I've just seen a few of them in the chat anyway. Let me mute that so that it's not echoing through there. Let's move over to Twitter. Perfect. Right. So, we've got... This is terrible. I genuinely don't know how to pronounce his name, and I don't even know who he is. I don't watch any championship football, right? So, is that a good price for their £6 million forward? I assume that is a decent price, considering we're getting Mitrovic at 6.5. Solanke was 6 million, to be fair. So, I think that's a decent price. 6 million seems fair there. Brennan Johnson's the main one I'm interested in. All right, that was to be expected. £6 million forward. I wanted him to be a 6 million or 5.5 million pound midfielder, but £6 million forward seems about fair. The reason that I don't mind that is we've got a few options at sort of 5.5, 6 million pound forwards now. We've got Mateta and Edouard, Undav, Johnson, and Burmo, Solanke. We've got a very decent amount of £6 million, 5.5 million pound forwards, which means you don't have to invest in the Wilsons, the Watkins, the Bamfords, the Calvert-Lewins if you don't want to. Taiwo is his first name. He was in Germany last season, 6 years for Liverpool before that. You pronounce it Awonyi. Let me go back. Okay, Awonyi. Great. Apparently he's just signed from Union Berlin. Looks like a decent price. That's great. I'll try and do a little bit more research. I don't like to come off as being someone that's naive and doesn't watch football, but I'm not going to pretend I have a clue who he is. But I'll have a look into him and try and do a little bit of data digging for us for the next time I talk about him. Brennan Johnson, 6 million. I think that's a good price. Isn't it Awonyi? Awonyi. Oh, I don't know. Someone else can tell me. I don't want to butcher anymore. Wait, why have they only... Where's all their players? Where's all the Forest players? Looks like they're struggling for players. I think they really are. They've definitely scrapped £4.5 million mids and forwards. Surely they have. Surely they have. Yates is a £4.5 million mid. Surely. So's Myton. These are my brother from Nigeria. I'm a QPR fan, so I've seen Spence play. Yeah, it's a shame we're not going to get Spence's price because, of course, he's playing for Middlesbrough, so we don't have Spence here. Game's out on the app. No, it's not. You're trolling me. There's no way. There's no way they launch the game this evening. There are 11 of them on their page. Is there? There's not. Dean Henderson. Yeah, we don't have Henderson's price, but I don't know why we don't have Henderson's price, to be honest. £4.5 million mids and forwards confirmed. Oh, you can click on their thing for more. Okay. Wait, what does that look like for you guys? Oh, God. That's really... Sorry, it's going to cut it off because of the way it's set up for Twitter. Wait, I wonder if I do that. Is that going to be better? Hey, that's better. Oh, okay. So we've got Joe Worrell, Scott McKenna, and Steve Cook priced at 4.5. Jack Colback's a midfielder, right? I'm really sorry for the ignorance. If so, then that's confirmed £4.5 million. I assume these two here are £4.5 million midfielders. Is that correct? The site has crashed. Oh, do you know what? I'll entertain it. I'll entertain it. I'll entertain it and have a look at Fantasy Premier League. You're saying it's out on the app, obviously. I've got my phone in front of me. I don't really want to go on my phone on stream. I've just gone on the website. I'm still logged in game week 38 from last season. We can have a look through Twitter together, see what everyone's saying. Okay, yeah, so Jack Colback's a £4.5 million mid. Apologies. No, if the game was out, everyone would be going mental on Twitter. I can't see anything about the game being out. Mr. Let's Talk FPL would be all over it, showing off his ID of about 1. Yeah. I don't understand they're not going to go live. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. If I'm wrong, I apologise. Let's start building a draft together whilst we potentially wait for the game to go live, but I don't think it will be. Yeah, so I was incorrect about the £4.5 million mids and forwards estimate. It was a good piece of logic, but it didn't end up being correct. It does mean that we can go a little bit cheaper on the bench, and it means we can go for like a 3 midfield or 4 midfield option. Because if there weren't any £4.5 million mids, it might have forced you to go for a 5 midfield formation. Aaron said the app is crashing. That's the only reason behind it. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I think the app's been playing up all day, to be fair. Yeah, it'll be going live tomorrow, guys. But that doesn't mean we can't build a draft because we have all of the prices now. Right? All of the prices are in. I don't know. The Nottingham Forest prices might not have been added yet because Peter, it will take him like a few minutes to get those added in. Let's have a look, though. Apparently, Jack Colback played left back for Forest, and the article doesn't specify position. Yeah, I guess that's true. Colback could be, but I think everyone's saying Cafu's a mid. Give it a refresh for Forest now. Look at that. Having Peter, you need to be in the chat more often. This is useful. So Peter's just added the Nottingham Forest prices. So if I want to add in Johnson, there we go. So we can get the Forest players in as well. Right, let's build a team. Let's build a team. I'm gonna start by putting in the players. By the way, let me know in the chat what players that you would personally like to see in the draft. I'm gonna on the previous streams, I've been building the teams that you guys have wanted. I'm gonna build the team that I'm currently thinking about going with. But do let me know because I'll probably forget about players. So just feel free to spam names in the chat that you want me to put into the team and that you're currently considering putting in your teams. Brennan Johnson is a serious option at 6 million, by the way. I'm doing a video very soon, recording it tomorrow. It's not going to be live for like a week or two with Mr. Mark Southerns. So I'm doing an Inside the Mind episode with Mark Southerns from FPL Black Box. He's a Forest fan, and I'm going to grill him with some questions about Forest at the end of the episode as well. So I'll try and get all of the juicy information on Forest. You're going to see what a vanilla manager I am at the start of the season here. I do apologise. I'm just going to go for some of the more vanilla picks and just load out the team. We may end up going with Raya, right? Mendy may end up becoming Raya. I just think for the moment, I quite like the £5 million keepers. I want Haaland, Erling Haaland in there. Is the game out? No, the game isn't out. The website that I am using right now, I will spam in the chat. There you go. I've just spammed it a few times in the chat. That website there, if you click on that, that will take you to this. Type in your ID from last season. If you don't have your ID from last season, just type in anything. And then you can just build a draft. Peter's been updating the prices as we've been going. Johnny Cash in defence. Gordon Ramsay in midfield. I like that. Cash may make his way in. Gordon Ramsay's not going to make his way in, though. Sturridge plays for Forest now, apparently. Isn't it? Was it Surridge or Sturridge? I think it was Surridge, wasn't it? Don't know. Right. Midfielders. I'm currently leaning towards Diaz over Robertson. I know I know a lot of people are favouring Robertson. I just think Diaz, I just think he's going to have a really good season. Yet Sam Sturridge, not Sturridge. What happened to Sturridge, by the way? Is Sturridge retired? I haven't seen Sturridge for a while. Is the game launching tonight? I don't believe so, no. I had to think about it. I've actually gone back to Reece James away from Chilwell. I don't know out of James and Chilwell. I might end up going with both of them. I'll be completely honest. I don't actually know at this stage. He went to Australia, but has stopped there as well. It's such a shame. He just got injured so often, didn't he? He was an absolute, that Sturridge Suarez sort of era for Liverpool was unbelievable. He was done for doping. I didn't know that. Wow. Now a free agent. Maybe someone should pick him up. Not if he's still doping, of course. I'm gonna also get. I'll get Perisic for now. It's a bit expensive, isn't it? What other players do we want to see in this draft, by the way? Like I said, I just want you guys to remind me what sort of players you're thinking about. I don't think I'm going to be able to... Let's get Neto in. And let's maybe try and get Rashford in. I don't know if Rashford's going to start. This is on this. Actually, I want Sancho, but it's just that £1 million it goes a long way, doesn't it? Yeah, Rashford. I know there's going to be a lot of love for Rashford. Get Cafu, the legend. If it was actual Cafu, old Cafu, then maybe. You think Jesus will be 8 based on Havertz? I think Jesus will be 9 or 8.5. I don't think Jesus will be as cheap as 8. Rashford's price is ridiculously cheap. Gordon is better 5.5 than Neto. Neto has better fixtures. I don't think Gordon's that great at 5.5. I'll be completely honest. I'm not blown away by that at all. I know, right? This midfield, I don't like the fact that Martinelli and Rashford are both rotation risks, so I'll probably switch them out in a second. I just wanted to get another player in there. So we're going to go Undav. We're going to go really boring. That could be Edouard. It could be Mateta. It's going to be a 5 point. Do you know what? We could even go Johnson. Let's splash the cash a little bit and get Johnson in there. And then a £4.5 million forward. It looks like we're going to get now. That's the midfielder there. Some £4.5 million. And then we've got 5 million left for this spot. I think what I would rather do is go £4 million. We know we've got Tompkins at 4. And I've got £1 million to spend. Can you do a team with Trent, Salah, Diaz, Son, Haaland, and Perisic, please? I'll try in a second. That'll be a 3-premium draft, right? Salah, Son. I'll try a 3-premium draft in a sec. I'm just going to build the sort of draft that I would like. Then we'll reset it. And I'll build a draft with Son in as well. Where do I use this $1 million? It could be used to go from Martinelli to a 7 million or Rashford up to a 7.5. Do you know what we could do? Get Maddison in there and get Raya in there. I like that. Do you think Laporte will be a consistent starter? I hope he will be. I really do hope he will be. I don't mind that as a team at all. I mean, you could even start Johnson if you wanted to. I think it's probably best to... Maybe Johnson's a bit expensive for the bench, isn't he? I guess if you're putting Johnson in, you want to start him. Hi, Russell. Getting excited for tomorrow's release. I'm buzzing for tomorrow's release. Can't wait. Greenwood to Undav. Yeah, I could have done that, I guess. That's true. James Justin. The £4.5 million defenders are great value. It's just the premiums are even better value, arguably. Trent, James, Laporte, Perisic. Is Diaz more nailed than Laporte? Potentially. This team is awful, Ross. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate the support. The support of my channel is really kind. Thank you. What's awful about the team? Do let me know. I'm happy to change whatever you think's awful. Johnson won't start. Klopp doesn't usually start his new signings. Johnson doesn't play for Liverpool. Did I put the wrong Johnson? No, I put the right Johnson in. Forest Johnson. What site is this? This is FPL.team. There you go. Personally, don't like Madders. Fair enough. Fair enough. Could get Sancho in there. Could even get like a Foden or a Mason Mount. I know Mount's been quite a popular pick if you wanted. Why Martinelli over Odegaard? Doesn't even have to be Martinelli. It could even be like a Visser if you wanted to. You have 4 players from Liverpool. I don't. This isn't a Liverpool player. This is a Forest player. Have I picked the right? That is Brennan Johnson, isn't it? Is that Forest's open fixtures? I'm sure no one has asked, so what is this site? It's FPL.team. I say about 4. I keep forgetting to put it on the graphic, to be fair. Any thoughts about Nunes? Yeah, it could be a decent option. Could be a decent option. Right. Someone wanted me to... This is roughly what I'll be going with, I'll be honest. I know a lot of people are hating it. I think it's solid. I think you want a few premium defenders. I think you want... The reason I like this is you've got Salah and Haaland. You've got 2 £8 million midfielders. So I have the ability to switch on and off of those £8 million midfielders. I've got a decent price midfielder in Neto. And I've also got a decent priced striker in Johnson. And I've got Visser in there as well. So like, I really like this team because... it's flexible to move off of different players. Their logo on the billboards is terrible for awareness. I think Peter's watching. Peter, your billboards are terrible. Change them. You could probably get away with picking the... Peter, you could probably put the URL on the billboards if you're still watching. Put FPL.team on the billboards. Right. So what did people want me to do? A draft with Son. I'm not saying the name of the site again. Son, Haaland, Trent, and Salah. Right. So we're going to try and now build a draft with the 3 premiums and Trent. This is obviously a lot more difficult to do, right? I think you've got to go cheap with a keeper. So we'll go with Raya. I think Raya is probably the go-to £4.5 million keeper at the moment. Let's get the captaincy on Salah, just so it's not on Raya. Now, you have to go cheap elsewhere. Much cheaper. You could probably get away with 1 more premium defender. Canzelo. Peter says, I just like to hear you keep saying it, so I won't change it now. There we go. Keith, get in the bin. I know you're trolling me. Right. I reckon then we need to go for a... Raptor is right. I hate this team. You hate my team. Don't hate my team. Just need some FPL.team merch. Send him a cap or something, Peter. Yeah. Yeah, Peter. Send me some merch. Alanga is going to be on my team. Johnny. Oh, Johnny's a good shout. Let's get Johnny in there. Calvin Phillips. I don't think Calvin Phillips... Unless they've changed the point scoring system, I don't think we're going to be wanting to go for many CDMs, to be honest. It won't work. Too many £4.5 million picks. I've only got 2. We just want to see if you can get a freemium draft with Trent and Cancelo. If not, we'll take out Cancelo. If not, we'll take out Trent. But I genuinely haven't tried this because I probably won't be going for it. It's just a little bit weak in my opinion. Isn't the price of Son a bit high? Yeah, it is a bit high. It's going to be a bit expensive, isn't it? Let me get the final Greenwood. So we've got 17.5 to spend on 3 players. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to afford Cancelo. Let's get Cancelo down to Perisic. Thoughts on Eriksen if he goes to Manchester United? Yeah, we'll discuss Eriksen in a minute, actually. Because I'm a Manchester United fan as well. I'm quite excited by it. Get Diaz in if you can. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not great. By the way, if you've just tuned into the stream, welcome. Please drop a like on the stream if you're watching. Please subscribe. This isn't my team I'm building. Someone's asked if I can try and put together a team with Son, Salah, and Haaland. Try and like freemium draft with 3 premiums. So I'm just seeing what the general structure looks like, and just seeing if it's feasible at all. No Chelsea defenders is a good point. So if we drop Trent to Robertson, and if we drop that's pretty much the only spot we can drop. You can get Visser up to like a Martinelli or a Rashford. I prefer the other draft. I much prefer the one where you can get like a really solid defense, 2 premiums, Mount and Diaz. Like it's much more. I think you've got to pick your 2 premiums and go for it. In my opinion, anyway. Yeah, you are really banking on the premiums. I did this draft before prices. Just put the most recent version in Discord if you want to have a look. Yeah, I don't know what Discord. I haven't got like a Discord setup ready to open that, to be honest. Frosty. What is it? A 3 premium draft? Let me have a look. By the way, if you're watching this, thank you very much. We're 44 subscribers away from 16,000. So if you're watching this and you've not yet subscribed and you'd like to do me a massive favor, it's completely free for you to do. Please subscribe to the channel. I would massively appreciate it. Very close to 16,000. My goal, maybe slightly optimistic, is to try and hit 20,000 subscribers before the start of the season. We've got about a month tomorrow until the start of the season. So if you are new, please do subscribe. Hopefully we hit 16,000 on stream. Right, let's have a look at how this is going to look on there. Cool. So this is one of our members has just sent this in. Yeah, that's better. That's much nicer, to be fair. It's a little bit weak on the bench, though. I don't mind that as a draft, though. I quite like that. So you've got, if you can't see it, it's a little bit small. You've got Raya, Trent, Cancelo, James, Tomiyasu. Very strong defense. Salah, Son, Martinelli, and Neto. Haaland and Undav. Very cheap bench. The only thing I don't like about that, it's a nice team. The only thing that I would worry about is you've got absolutely no £8 million midfielders. So if you want to get onto Foden, Mount, Diaz, Saka, Maddison, any of these £8 million, you've got like 7 or 8 of them. You've got no way to get to an £8 million midfielder. So I would probably downgrade Cancelo or James and get an £8 million mid in there if that was my team. And I was trying to go for the 3 premium draft, personally. Right, should we do rating some of your drafts, guys? Let me pose the question. Be cheeky and put on sub-only chat. I think it might be on sub-only chat, to be fair. Right. You'll hit 20k in a month with all the content opportunities. I hope so. That would be really, really cool. 20,000, even 15,000 is a lot of people. Right. I'm just going to put a quick poll in the chat. What would you like me to do for the next sort of half an hour? Sorry if that's really loud, me typing. Right, I've just slapped a poll in the chat. Just want to know, would you rather me just stay on FPL.team and build drafts myself and just go through some different differential drafts, different formations, etc., or do you want me to jump over onto Twitter and rate some of your drafts? So I'll just put out a tweet and you can comment your drafts. I'll leave it up for a couple of minutes. I would have definitely picked Bowen if he was 7.5 or 8. I agree, would have been a much better price there, but I understand why they've priced him at 8.5. Ridiculous amount of points last season. Kane for game week 1, then swap to Haaland. I don't mind that, yeah. Do you think Salah only premium and captain him for the first 5 games can break the template? I don't like one premium drafts personally. I just think, again, flexibility reasons, it can leave you in a bit of a sticky situation. What's the name of the site? It's FPL.team. I really hope you hit it. Your content is up there with a bigger channel. Shame you came to the party later than others, or you would be. I thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that. Joined the stream late. Wanted to know if we can get our FPL IDs now. The game's not live yet. What if the game goes live within the next 30? It's not going to. My differential will be Rashford. I like that. The poll's currently 50-50. That's not ideal. Can someone else vote in the poll? It's 50-50. If you have an opinion on whether you'd rather me building a draft or going onto Twitter and rating your drafts, please help me. A 50-50 poll is not ideal, is it? You was able to get your ID earlier. You shouldn't have been able to get your ID earlier. The game's not live. $37 subscribers away from 16,000. How are you picking a team if the game isn't live? I'm doing it via FPL.team. I'll go over to Twitter for a bit, and then maybe we'll come back and build a couple of drafts. Maybe I'll stream for a little bit longer. Maybe we'll go for 2 hours. Who knows? Who knows? Right, end the poll. It was very close. This website says I need my ID. How do I get that? Just type in any ID if you don't know your ID. It will be a blank slate anyway. I have 142 notifications. That's nice. Has something happened? Why would I have that many notifications? Right. What do I want to tweet? I'm going to also put the stream link in if people want to join. That's probably a good idea, isn't it, Ross? Let's do that. Get link. Bang. I'll put the link in the chat in 2 seconds. Check the Athletic tweets, please. Why? What's the Athletic tweeted? Right. We'll go through these for a bit. And when it starts to get boring, we'll do something else. There we go. First team. We've got Raya, Cancelo, James, Chilwell, Perisic, Trent. Love that back line. Very, very strong. I like the Chelsea double wing backs because 6 million, they're going to be a good price. Perisic at 5.5. No issues with that back line. Salah, Diaz, Foden, Neto, Haaland. I tell you what, starting 11-wise, I genuinely don't think you can do much better than this kind of draft. Yeah, I didn't even realize. You've created a circular link. I click to view Twitter, then come back here, then repeat. I didn't even realize. Good point. Sorry. With respect to the starting 11, I don't think you can get much stronger. That is far too weak of a bench for me, though. So I'm wondering if you downgrade Cancelo to Laporte or Diaz, or if you downgrade James or Chilwell to a £5 million mid, like a Trippier, etc., and then upgrade one of your bench spots, whether that be Greenwood or Graben to Undav, whether that be Douglas Luiz to a Martin, to a Visser or a Gordon or someone like that at 5.5. I personally think that you're probably better off doing that. I just think that's a little bit too weak on the bench. What do you guys think of the first draft? It's quite a nice draft, though. Thank you. Thank you. I don't remember pushing the mute button. I think I knocked the mute as I got my drink. Thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe I was just trolling. Oh, I wasn't. I accidentally muted myself. It's better, though, than I recorded once an entire sort of 20-minute segment and my sound was off. That wasn't fun at all. Sorry. So for this team, I just said we've got text team here. We've got Mendy in goal, Trent, Cancelo, Chilwell, Tomiyasu, Perisic. I like this. It's a back five, but you've got a £4.5 million defender in there just to save a little bit of money. And you've also got Perisic, who's a little bit cheaper as well. So it's big at the back, but not like massive at the back. How many numbers is the ID? I can't remember mine. It could be anything. Just type in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't affect anyone's team as far as I know. Anyway, I like the team a lot. I like the Sancho pick, Tech. I think you're in the chat, aren't you? I like the Sancho pick a lot. I think that's a really, really nice pick. Sancho, I'm not sure about Martinelli. We need to see how much he plays pre-season. Haaland, Undav as a first sub's really nice. This is a very nice, well-rounded, fairly flexible team. I'm a big fan of that. How many people have commented? Have we got? Oh, God, we got... Sorry. So there's 47. I don't know if I'll be able to get through even half of those, but we'll see. Capital FPL. Okay, first time we've seen this for a while, actually. We've got the Trent and Robbo double up. And I'll be honest, I do quite like I said, I'm slightly leaning towards Diaz. Diaz and Trent and Salah as the Liverpool triple up. But I don't mind going for Robertson instead. And interestingly, this hasn't got Salah, it's got Darwin in there. I've only just realised how unique this draft is. It's really nice, Capital FPL. We've also got Trippier and Henry. I'm not sure about the double up on the Brighton defence, but it's interesting. Vardy and Nunez. I'm just going to call him Nunez. I know it's Nunez. Really nice forward line. Interesting. I do wonder, though, Capital FPL, let me know in the chat. Are you someone that deliberately goes against the herd? Because this feels like a little bit like you're trying almost too hard to be different. I feel like having Son, Kane, Vardy, Darwin, Martinelli, all of these players in there ahead of the likes of Salah and Haaland, it is potentially a little bit too different to start. I don't want to discourage people from breaking away from the template, but maybe there's a few too many risks in there. I don't know. Anyway, it is a really nice draft, and it's good to at least see something slightly different. I'd maybe get a couple of City and Chelsea players in there, though, potentially. We've got Ash. I don't know. Are you watching, Ash? Good to see you if you are watching, my man. We've got Mendy, Cancelo, Trent, Perisic, and Tierney. It's the first time I've seen Tierney, actually. I really, really like Tierney. Willock. It's the first time I've seen Willock. I think Willock's 5 million, isn't he? So he is very, very cheap. Salah and Son and Haaland. So he's gone for the freemium draft here, Ash. Undav and Neto. I tell you what, it is very nice. It's interesting that he's done this. So if you don't follow FPL Hints Ash on Twitter, he plays like the EO game. So he very much sort of picks players that are high effective ownership and tries to play as safe as possible at points. So I wonder whether that's why he's gone for Salah, Son and Haaland to try and sort of cover the 3 major rank killers. He's also got Trent and Cancelo in there. I do worry that there's a few too many weak picks in that starting 11 though, Ash. I think last season you stuck with 2 £4.5 million midfielders, if I remember correctly, though. So I don't mind it. Mr. Jack Redditor, we've got... I like that. I like that a lot. Again, the only issue, so this is the sort of templatey team, but it's a very strong team. The only issue I have with that, Jack, is that the spit your words out. The bench is very, very cheap. I would want to upgrade a little bit. So I think this is pretty similar to a team we just looked at. I would downgrade Cancelo, James, or Chilwell, or Perisic, one of those defenders, just to strengthen the bench slightly. I want a mid from Villa for game week 1. Buendia or Ramsey, do you think? I think Ramsey, but if Buendia does start, he's probably the one to own, isn't he? He's probably the one to own. Some people are saying Willock might not even start. There we go. That's a bit of inside information from potentially Newcastle fans. Very nice team, Jack. I like it a lot. Interesting. Got a few different players that we haven't seen yet. We've got Diaz in there. We've got Anderson as well. Outside of that, not that different. But I do think Diaz and Laporte are going to be really good options, assuming that they start the majority of games. And I do think Crystal Palace defence will be worth investing in. It's just going to be finding someone that you can rotate, because you're not going to want to start Anderson for all of those tricky fixtures in there. But I do like that team. Okay, that's a different team. I like that a lot. Do let me know what you're thinking, by the way, when you're looking at these teams. Let us know what you think in the chat. We've got Mendy, Perisic, Robertson, Chilwell. So there's an absence of Trent here. Then we've got Son, Diaz, Mount, Sancho, right? So there's no Salah. And Tony, Wilson, and Jesus. So there's only one premium in this draft. There's no Salah, and there's no Haaland. And it's Son is the only premium. I guess you could almost count Jesus as a premium if he comes in at 9. But I'll tell you what, that's a very nice, different team. The only thing I would worry about is if Kane, De Bruyne, Haaland, all of these start smashing it, with only one premium, how are you going to get a second premium? And this is what I talk about a lot, and I'll talk about it throughout pre-season as well. Flexibility is so incredibly important pre-season. When you're building your Game Week 1 team, you need to be able to easily get to an £8 million midfield. You need to easily be able to get to another premium. If you can, have 2 of each. So if you have 2 £8 million midfielders, you can have Mount or Foden, whoever it be, and you can switch to another. If you have 2 premiums, you can keep Salah and switch the second premium. If you've got 2 £6 million defenders, you can keep Chilwell and switch out James. Does that make sense? So in my opinion, it's absolutely critical to try and keep your draft not only looking good, but keeping it as flexible as possible as well. So I do like this team. I just worry with the only having one premium. Robertson instead of Trent seems okay. I don't mind Robertson instead of Trent. I just think the fact there's only 0.5 million between the two, you might as well just have Trent. It's not, if there was $1 million between them, I'd say it might be worth saving and going for Robertson. We've got a new member as well. Welcome to the Raptier family, Ajay Kumar. Thank you very, very much for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Appreciate the support of the channel. Redditor says, 0 depth in the 5-4-1, of course, but might be worth going for with 5 subs and a wildcard to save the structure. Maybe. Yeah, maybe the 5 subs will render the bench useless. Maybe we won't use our bench anywhere near as much. My issue isn't with the 5-4-1 as much as... Again, it's the flexibility issue. If you've only got one striker, what happens if Watkins, Bamford, Calvin... What happens if all of these strikers start doing really well? I'm very, very keen on having a flexible squad personally. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I spent loads of time on that. It's a very nice team, those FF scopes. I like it a lot. Let me refresh it just to get some different stuff. Oh, it's in the same order anyway. Ignore me then. I like that. Something a bit different. This is going cheap at the back. Right, so here we're going for White, Justin, and Johnny. 3 £4.5 million defenders. It's probably too risky for me, but they are good value, right? The £4.5 million defenders are definitely good value. Then you've got Salah, Son, Neto, Rashford, Souček, randomly chucked in there. I don't mind Souček. And then Haaland and Kane. So you've got 4 premiums. I think genuinely this is the first time I've seen a 4 premium draft. And it's not terrible, right? It's not a terrible draft. To get Kane, Haaland, Son, and Salah in is nice. But I just think even 3 premiums for me, you're sacrificing the structure of your squad a little bit too much. 4 premiums, I think you're really, really sacrificing the structure. What do you guys think of this sort of draft? We just got a Rap Tier 1 member just joined. Thank you very much, Mohammed. I really, really appreciate that. Drop me a message on Twitter or Discord, and I'll add you to our private chat, and I'll add you to our mini league when the game goes live. And you can also message me your team whenever you want to. Has Matip been given a price yet? No, Matip's not got a price yet. Matip does not have a price yet. We are only 21 subscribers off of 16,000. If you've just joined the stream, please do subscribe. Only 21 subscribers away from 16,000. That might not seem like a lot to some of the big YouTubers. In fact, we actually have Redditor in the chat. Redditor, how many subscribers have you got now? Is it still, it's about just over 600,000, isn't it? Imagine having 600,000 subscribers. Yeah, anyway, I would really appreciate it. It'd be a great milestone to hit 16,000. This is the most people we've had in a pre-season stream yet. We've got 620 people here, so welcome to my channel, welcome to the stream. Right, that's enough of me asking for you to subscribe. How much is Aguero? Oh, I wish we still had Aguero, to be honest. We've got a draft with Brennan Johnson in there. That is not bad at all. Quite like that draft. In fact, I really like that draft. It's really nice. Cancelo, Trent and James. 8 Nuri is the £4.5 million defender. Luis Diaz, Saka, Salah and Ramsey. Johnson and Haaland. Very, very nice. Gibbs White, Lamptey. So decent option on the bench in Lamptey as well. That's a really nice draft. Who sent that in? FPL Arc Survivor. Scott, I really like that. I think Brennan Johnson could be rivaling Undav. Obviously, he is a £0.5 million more, but I do like that, Scott. Really nice. Very nice draft. This is what I mean, by the way, by a flexible draft. Just to go back to it. Got a two £4.5 million defenders, so you can switch out those £4.5 million defenders whenever you want. You've got 3 premium defenders, so you can switch out those premium defenders. You've got Luis Diaz and Saka, so 2 £8 million midfielders. You've got a cheap striker and a cheap midfielder. The only thing this is missing, but you can't have all of it, is a mid-priced striker. So again, if Wilson, Watkins, Bamford, Calvert-Lewin, if all of these strikers, Jesus, Vardy, all of those strikers start doing well, you'll have to rearrange the structure to try and get to them. Outside of that, you've got everything there with the structure. So this is what I'm going to try and drive home by saying a flexible draft. This is what I really like. Ross, do you think there's ever an argument for cheap at the front? Pounds per points for strikers is more, and we have some really good defender mids. How cheap? The issue is, I suppose, you can't do anything if they suddenly start smashing it, right? If the premium suddenly start smashing it, you need to wildcard out. So unless you're going, if you go for one more premium midfielder, I guess it's easier to switch. If you spread the funds, it's going to be a nightmare. I think you probably want at least one premium striker to start the season. I like to go for the most expensive defender, the most expensive midfielder, and the most expensive striker most of the time, because it's easy to switch off of those. Something a bit different again. We've got 2 sort of middle to premium priced strikers in Jesus and Darwin. Salah, Rashford, and De Bruyne. This might be the first draft we've actually seen De Bruyne. Genuinely might be the first draft we've seen De Bruyne. Trent, Trippier, Diaz, Dunk, and Dyer. It feels like you should have more money. I don't know. It feels like you've only got 2. I guess Jesus and Darwin are quite expensive. I would downgrade one of those strikers and upgrade the defense a little bit. I feel like it's missing a Perisic, James, Chilwell-esque sort of players. Are you planning a morning stream if the game goes live at 10? I'm not available until 12:30. So I'll probably do a lunchtime stream. Andy will stream straight away. So if you want to stream, Let's Talk FPL will stream. FPL Mate will probably stream straight away. I'll either do a lunchtime stream or I'll do an evening stream if the game goes live tomorrow. So yeah, tune in for that. But yeah, it'll probably be just check out Andy, to be honest. That's a nice draft. First time we've seen Kulusevski, actually. Got Raya, Trent, Laporte, James, Perisic, Salah, Diaz, Kulusevski, Martinelli, Neto, Haaland. It's a very template team, but the first time I've seen Kulusevski for the £8 million mid, which I don't mind at all. We are 15 subscribers away from 16,000. When we hit it, I'll shut up when we hit it. I don't like asking for subs particularly. or too often anyway, but 15 subscribers. There's definitely 15 of you watching this that haven't subscribed to the channel. It's guaranteed. Right. That's nice. I like that a lot. That's different, but good different. That's not different for just being different sake. Ramsdale in goal. Could be any £5 million goalkeeper. Doesn't really matter. Trent, double City defence, which genuinely probably will be fantastic value and something that I definitely will consider. Cancelo and Laporte. And double Chelsea, Chilwell and James. Right, I love that back line. Salah, Diaz, Mahrez and Saka. Right, so 13 million. Diaz, Mahrez and Saka is three £8 million. However, I guess this is sort of what Frosty was asking a second ago. There's no premium striker here. So it's just Tony, Undav, and then a £4.5 million defender. I actually really like that though. That's made me think about, do I need a premium striker? Like I said, it's mainly for flexibility reasons. What happens if Kane, Ronaldo, Vardy, Haaland, all of these players start doing really well? It's really tricky, especially as there's only one premium here. It's very tricky to try and switch to a second premium, specifically a premium up top. It's such a nice team, though. It really, really is a nice team. I don't mind. As far as one premium drafts go, I don't mind that at all. Got Jamie's team. Jamie is a member, so thank you for joining, Jamie. I do appreciate it. Trent and Robbo as the double up. Gabriel and Cancelo. Very strong defence. Interesting you've gone for Gabriel over Tomiyasu and White. I don't think a lot of people are probably opting to go for Gabriel. They're probably going for like Trippier or Cash for the sort of the £5 million. Luis Diaz, Grealish, Fernandes, and Ramsey. That's a very different midfield. No Salah, and we're going for Grealish and Fernandes. I think both of those could be good value. Fernandes in particular. If we do sell Ronaldo, I genuinely think there's a small chance that Fernandes plays in a false nine. Apologies. If not, he's definitely going to be the most advanced midfielder in our team. I was speaking again to Pranil, talk a lot about Manchester United. We think that there's a small chance that Fernandes could play almost on the right wing, like Tadic did. If anyone watches Ajax or watched Ajax, Tadic was almost like an inside forward/wide playmaker position. Started on the right wing, but drifts inside. I think you could see something similar with Fernandes. He's almost like an advanced playmaker. I do think Fernandes could be good value at points. It might be a wait and see for Bruno, though. It might be a wait and see. Kane in there. I don't mind Kane at all. I think Kane's absolutely fine as an option. Really nice team. Really like that, Jamie. I genuinely think Bruno and Grealish at various points this season will be excellent value. Excellent value. Nice team, FPL Jow. Perisic over Chilwell and Mendy over Ramsdale. Yeah, it's a fairly template team, but I do like that a lot. Got a team with Barnes in. That's the first time we've seen Harvey Barnes. What do we think about Barnes at 7 million? Are we interested in Barnes or not at all? We've just hit 16,000. Thank you very much. I really, really do appreciate it. All of you that have just subscribed because I said I'd like to hit 16,000, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And hopefully you stick around. You don't unsubscribe. But really do appreciate that. We are going to go for 20,000 before the start of the season. Would have preferred Barnes at 6.5. Yep, I agree. Ricardo P is a bargain at 4.5. Thoughts, Ross? Yeah, Ricardo P, if he starts, could be the one. Will Eriksen play in the number 10 role for United with Bruno as a right wing? That's what Pranil was suggesting earlier. So it would be someone as our striker. Don't know at this stage. Could be Ronaldo, could be Rashford, could be Bruno playing in like a more of a false nine role. We don't actually know. Then it would be on the right, playing a sort of like an inside advanced playmaker would be Bruno. On the left, Sancho. Through the middle would be rotation between Eriksen and Van der Beek. Lacks a little bit of pace is the only thing I would worry about if we don't have Rashford or Martial up top and we do have Ronaldo. But I really like the idea that Manchester United could, in one team, feasibly get Sancho, Eriksen or Van der Beek, and Bruno Fernandes. Inconsistency is Barnes' enemy, yeah. Feel your boots, Andy Mack says. I can't really feel my boots. That's a really nice draft. And you probably know yourself it's a little bit templatey, but we use that as it's like a dirty word. Like, oh, it's a template team. It's not a bad thing. If you're picking players that other people are picking, it's probably because it's a really good team. I really don't mind that at all. I think that's really nice. I can't fault it really. Kulusevski would be the only one. Maybe you go for Mount, Maddison, or Foden. I'm still not convinced on Kulusevski, but I do like that. How to get to draft? I've got too many to look at, unfortunately, I think. You can still try. It's just my latest tweet. If you go onto my profile, I've got 97. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting through 97 drafts. I don't know even where I was. Vincent, roast. I'm not going to roast it. It's perfect. Really nice draft, Vincent. I like it. No Salah. Got a Salah-less draft. Trent, Chilwell, Cancelo, James, Perisic, and Mendy. Premium defence, premium goalkeeper, pretty much. Saka, Mahrez, and Neto. It's very weak in the middle. No premium midfielders. And then Haaland and Kane. This is the equivalent of someone that has massive shoulders and a massive chest. They've got massive legs and then a flubby belly. You've got an absolutely terrible... It's not a terrible mid. It's just there's no premium in there, right? So if, again, Son, KDB, Salah, maybe Bruno start smashing any of these premium midfielders, it's going to require a few transfers for you to get there. But I don't mind that. Haaland and Kane could be a great shout. And Saka, Mahrez, and Neto is a nice midfield. I don't mind it at all. Got a super chat from Mohammed. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, do you think we really need good subs with a new 5 subs rule? Your player might come off on if not injured. I do genuinely believe that this season, subs will be less important. I do believe that for sure. I think subs will be... Because, as you say, unless they're injured, unless they have COVID, there's... Oh, my camera's lagging out. It did quite well today. It doesn't normally go that long. I'm still here. If you're new to the streams, my camera, after about an hour, just decides to sort of overheat and lag out. I just have to reset it. So my face will... You might not even want to look at my face. Maybe it's better. Should I just keep the camera off? Maybe no one wants to look at my face. What was I saying? I was chatting about something. The subs. Yeah, sorry, Mohammed, your question. I think, and again, unless they are injured, unless they have COVID, they're very likely to come off the bench if they are on the bench. Equally, we're likely to see more early subs as well. I do believe that the bench will be less important than in previous seasons, but I do still think it's important because you will still get random injuries. You will still get random pieces of rotation, and it's not confirmed that they'll come off the bench. Just because there's 5 subs doesn't necessarily mean that that player is going to come on. There's still going to be players on the bench that don't come on. And some teams and some managers won't use the 5 subs. You do have to realise that sometimes bringing on a substitute is not always an advantage. Right? Sometimes a substitute can actually cause a bit of harm to the momentum of the game. So a lot of the times, we've seen this with Pep, we've seen it with Klopp as well. Sometimes they won't opt to use all 3 of their subs, let alone all 5. So yes and no. I think you still need a bench, but maybe you don't need as many bench players. Maybe you just need one strong bench sub or one decent bench sub like a Tomiyasu, a Johnny, and then you have 2 non-playing subs. I usually like to go with 2 playing subs, and I like to go with 1 non-playing sub. What that means is I can rely on at least 2 of my bench players. Maybe this season we only need 1 of your bench players. It's an interesting question though, Mohammed. Really good question. What camera are you using? It's quite expensive. It's a Sony ZV-1. It's a very nice camera. I just, for some reason on this computer, and I've got a Mac, I don't know why they just not... I need to sort it out at some point, but I've just... It's not a huge issue. It just means I need to reset my camera every now and again. There you go, I'm back. Right. We'll look at a couple more, and then I want to try and build a couple of drafts myself, and then maybe we'll call it there. Got to have Salah, in my opinion. I think you've not got to have Salah. I will have Salah personally. Roast me. First time I've seen Watkins. Actually, that's the first time I think I've seen a £7.5 million forward. I think that's the first time we've seen. We've got Watkins at 7.5. I don't mind that at all. First time we've seen Ødegaard as well. Ødegaard could be a good option. Just his underlying data has never been very good. Neto, Vissa, good, decent first sub as well. I don't mind that at all. I think that's really nice. Refresh for newer drafts. When I refresh, it still comes up with the same old drafts. It doesn't... Because I've not got the latest tweets on. I have like the most popular sort of thing. Anyway, it's not going to refresh like that. I like that a lot. I think Watkins could have a very, very good season as well. Tech says, if ETH plays Bruno in the Tadic role, doesn't that mean that one of Rashford/Sancho will definitely not play every game? If we don't sell Ronaldo, yes, that would mean that. But if we sell Ronaldo, Rashford/Martial can rotate through the middle. Sancho can play every game on the left. Bruno can play on the right. And then Van der Beek or Eriksen through the middle. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily... It really does depend on what happens with Ronaldo. Obviously, Ronaldo said he wants to leave, so... Link for Twitter. The Twitter link is in the bio. Just type in FPL Raptor on Twitter. FPL__Raptor is the actual handle. It's my latest tweet. There's going to be too many to get through anyway. I'm only going to do a few more. Right, I'm really sorry if I scroll past your draft. I'm really sorry. I'm just going to scroll and see if we see any like really unique ones. And then after that, I'll go and just build a couple of unique ones myself. That's very small, but I see that's the first time we see a Crystal Palace striker. Ian. What striker is it? It's Mateta. It's the first time we've seen Mateta. Really nice draft, Dan. That's a very expensive defense, but it's a very nice defense all the same. I'm going to build one in a second with a very expensive defense. Could swap KDH and Undav for others and no bench really, but crazy what you can get. Salah, Son, and Haaland, and Diaz, and Trent, and Chilwell. Yeah, that's a very nice 3-million draft for sure. I haven't made a draft yet, but I'll most probably have Trent, Son, Salah, and Vardy, and I'll go from there. Vardy's not been very popular in this stream so far, but I don't mind Vardy as an option. Build a Salah-less draft. I can build a Salah-less draft. It will make me sick inside, but I can build a Salah-less draft. Well, we've got KANE here over Haaland. Again, I don't mind it. I don't mind picking KANE over Haaland. I don't mind that at all. Got Wilson, my boy. I do love Wilson. FPL Chubbs has chosen Wilson in there. Salah, Neto, Diaz, Martinelli. Very strong, nice team. Mahrez is essential. Maybe. Why aren't people choosing Wilson? Am I missing something? No. I just think 7.5 is a lot when you can get Tony for 7, when you can get Mbermo for 6, Johnson for 6, when there are so many good defenders. If you was to say, do you want Wilson or Robertson for 0.5 less, you'd probably expect Robertson to outscore Wilson. Do you want Wilson for 7.5 or Chilwell/James for 1.5 million less? I don't necessarily think it's the fact that Wilson is the terrible value. I just think there are so many other good value picks. That's why you're not seeing a lot of Wilson, Bamford, Calvert-Lewin, Watkins. It's just these forwards are just a little bit too expensive in comparison to some of the other players in defence and midfield. Kane and Johnson as the front two. I like that a lot. I like that team. That's very nice. Got Havertz alongside Haaland. I do think Havertz could be decent value, to be fair. And then Grealish. That's maybe second or third time we've seen Grealish in there. Are you into cricket or tennis? I'm not particularly, unfortunately. Watch a bit of NBA, bit of golf, mainly football. I do like that team, though. Sorry, I really like that team. Very nice. Early born. FPL long shots. That's a different draft. Yeah, I don't mind that. It's the same thing, though. The value seems to be in defence, and you've not got any of, apart from Robertson, you've not got Chilwell, James, Cancelo, Laporte, Diaz. Most of the premium defenders you're missing out on. So it's a big risk to potentially go against that. But Robertson, Trippier, Cucurella could be nice. Again, Cucurella, this is again assuming he goes to City, I suppose. Mahrez, Grealish, Sancho, Luis Diaz, Havertz, Kane, and Jesus. I do think that's a very nice team. Jesus and Havertz in particular could be decent shouts. I just think you've got no Haaland, you've got no Salah, you've got no Trent. It feels like a little bit like trying to be too different. Maybe FPL long shots. I know you've probably done that because I'm asking for different drafts, but that maybe feels like it's gone too far the other way. Maybe. Some people might prefer this sort of draft. At the end of the day, as long as you're having fun, who cares? Mahrez is so tempting. Mahrez is tempting. Yeah, maybe I haven't given Mahrez enough credit. I think I prefer Foden. I think Foden will be more nailed than Mahrez, and his underlying data was as good as Mahrez's. Obviously, one of the benefits of Mahrez last season was that Mahrez was on penalties. Mahrez is now no longer on penalties. Is he such a fantastic option? Who knows? That Robertson-Wilson thought was a very good take. Thank you. I appreciate that. They're obviously in different positions, so it's not exactly the same, but you just have to think, would you rather 5 sort of £6 to £7 million defenders or a £6 to £7 million forward or midfielder. I think the value's in there in defence, to be honest. Buendia is a differential. I don't mind it, Felix. I don't mind it at all, Felix. Nice. It's a very nice team. That's a very solid team. I think, again, the only differential really is in Buendia, and I don't mind taking 1 or 2 differentials at all. Right. Bamford. First time I've seen Bamford. Are you a Leeds fan? Who is this, Ben? Are you a Leeds fan, or are you just genuinely thinking that Bamford's going to have a good season? It's the first time I've seen Bamford in anyone's team. It's nice, though, and you've got a strong bench as well. It's a very strong team. No Salah worries me slightly, but I'm going to say that on anyone that doesn't have Salah. I think I'm going to leave the rating drafts there and go and build a couple myself, just so it's not too monotonous, just scrolling through and going, yes, nice draft. So I might get back to it. I'll leave that open. I really, really do apologise if you are someone that I didn't get through to your draft. It's just too many. There's over 100 now, so yeah. Right. This was the latest draft we built with Son in, but that wouldn't be one that I'd actually go with. What sort of draft do we want to have a look at? Big at the back? Do we want to get one where we've got 2 premium strikers, KANE and Haaland? What sort of draft are you interested in seeing, guys? Can try and build. So we've done a normal draft. If you want to scroll back in the video, the stream, and watch that, you can. We've done a 3 premium draft: Son, Salah, and Haaland. What do you want the next draft to be? We'll maybe do a couple of different drafts. Big at the back's getting a lot of love. Big at the back, big at the back. Yeah, we'll do a big at the back and then maybe a KANE and Haaland up top draft. Your real draft. I've done my real draft already. About half an hour ago, I built the sort of draft that I'm thinking about at the moment. Right. If we're going big at the back, genuinely, I saw someone said Alisson. If I'm going for a premium keeper, I think it's Ederson, just because I think there's too many other good Liverpool attackers out there, and I'd rather go Trent and Robertson with Salah. So I think if I'm going for a premium keeper, it would be Ederson. Off to play 5-a-side now, buddy. Have a good rest of the stream. Cheers, Peter. I appreciate it. Your site's working marvellously well, by the way. Thank you very much. Right. Let's go big. I'm going to go as big as possible and see how affordable it all is. Right. Let me sort by price. That'll make it a little bit easier. Cancelo. Let's get Chilwell. And let's get that one. James in as well. So if you do it like this, Ederson, Trent, Robertson, Cancelo, James, Chilwell, you've actually got 2 from City, 2 from Liverpool, 2 from Chelsea. That is £39.5 million of your budget, though, right? It's approaching half of your budget just on 1 keeper and your back 5. It does look saucy, though, doesn't it? It does look saucy. Mohammed with the super chat. Thank you, Mohammed. He says 5 must-haves: Trent, James, Salah, Saka, and Haaland. I'll try and get all of those into this draft. We've got Trent and James already. I'll try and get Salah. I'm not sure that Saka is a must-have. I agree that Trent, James, Salah, and Haaland are almost must-haves. I don't like to say anyone's a must-have, but I do like them. Saka, I'm not sure about Saka yet. I'm not convinced. Is Ederson 5.5? We don't know yet, but I would be incredibly surprised if Lloris and Alisson are 5.5 and Ederson's 6. Massive at the back looks impeccable currently. I mean, you can't argue. That is gorgeous to look at, to be fair. Let's get Trent in. And let's... Oh, what am I doing? No, Salah. Why did I say Trent? Let's get Salah in. We can try and get Haaland in. I don't think we're going to be able to afford 2 premiums is the issue if you go that big at the back. Raya in goal to save some money. We may go to a cheaper keeper. Rather go Mendy and Diaz. I mean, you could just go Mendy. All right, if you want to go, just go Mendy. You can do. And then that is a triple up on the Chelsea defence, though. You could even go Perisic rather than Chilwell or James if you wanted to. Right, it's not as big at the back. But you could just do that, right? Yeah, I'm going to... Oh, Jesus. I'm going to just fill out the bench just so that we know how much we've got to play with for those final few spots. We'll go as cheap as possible. I think Undav is the cheapest sort of playing striker that we've got. Could be Mateta, like I said. Could be Edouard. We don't actually know at this stage which of the players we'll be looking at. Greenwood. Should we get Cafu in just for the lols? Oh, Cafu's not there. Okay, go back. I thought Cafu was a midfielder. So we have 19 million for the final 3 spots. Maybe we go Mason Mount. I tell you what, it's not terrible, is it? It doesn't really matter at this stage who the £5.5 million midfielders are, right? It really doesn't. That's not necessarily the big thing here. It's more of the structure. So the structure here is humongous at the back. Salah and Haaland, an £8 million mid, like I said, for flexibility reasons, and then 2 £5.5 million mids. What you could do, if you wanted to, is downgrade Robertson to like a James, and then you can upgrade Vissa to someone else, or go like Diaz over Mount. So you can fluctuate a little bit with this. Not a fan personally, too big at the back with Salah and Haaland. Maybe, potentially. So I mean, you can pull a little bit of money out of that, like I said. Right? That's a little bit stronger. Tierney for Robertson. Tierney's a little bit too... We're trying to go... We're doing a big at the back draft here. So it's deliberately big at the back. Something that worked really well for me last season was moving early for price rises in early weeks. Gave me the flexibility later in the season. Going for a 4-4-2 lets you adapt a lot easier, in my opinion. I agree. I prefer the... Everyone's panicking about the triple Chelsea defence. There you go. I think everyone is... Sorry, what was I saying? I don't know. 4-4-2, I agree, is the more flexible draft. Absolutely no bench. You've got Ndav there. You could even get like an Anthony Elanga in for 5 million. Get a Man United boy in there. It's not bad. It's a little bit too big at the back for me, to be perfectly honest. I think what I'm more likely to do will float back towards the draft that I was thinking about, is Mendy back in there. Probably you won't be able to afford both Chelsea boys. You just go for one. Go for a 4.5 in here. It could be any 4.5. Or you could even go for a £5 million in like a Matty Cash, right? It doesn't really matter. Switch Perisic out for like a Johnny. Right. For flexibility reasons, this is at least. Maybe Vissa to Rashford and Robertson to James. I don't mind the way that draft looked. It was a little bit... Maybe we can get Perisic in here. If we drop Cancelo down to someone a little bit like a Diaz. I think I prefer... Let's go Mahrez. I think I want a City midfielder a little bit, to be honest, but we'll see. Oh no, guys. My OCD is going to kick in if I don't line up the City players. Oh, but then Diaz is on the... Oh, God. My OCD is going to have a fit. Lamptey, Nuri. What were we doing? I wanted a little bit more of an expensive player in here. Could be a Tony. Without Eriksen, though. How much are we expecting? He struggled without Eriksen. He looked much better when Eriksen was in the team. Maybe a Wilson. If we can get up there. Yeah, so this is way too expensive at the moment. Do you play Sky Sports Fantasy Football? I do not play Sky Sports Fantasy Football, no. I don't play any other. I've tried before. I just have so much on my plate that I just always forget deadlines and stuff. If you don't want to go for the double up on Wolves, you can even get like a Tomiyasu in there. That's quite nice. I think that's a very... This is what I mean, driving home the point. I know I keep repeating myself. This is a flexible draft. 2 premiums, relatively expensive defence, but not too expensive. 2 £8 million midfielders, a cheap midfielder, and a second striker at a reasonable price. This, in my opinion, is the most flexible draft you can build. I don't like this draft. You've said that on every single draft I've built, funnily enough. I love this draft. You're confusing me. Do you love this draft or do you not like this draft? How are you making this draft and is it free? I'm using the site FPL.team. It is completely free to use. The game is not live yet. We're expecting the game to go live tomorrow. There you go. There's the website. It's just FPL.team in your URL. Oh, I see. I don't like this draft. I love this draft. I didn't read it as one sentence. It makes more sense now. I'd probably put Foden in. If I were forced to get... If the game were going live tomorrow, I'd be on something like this. Just the bench seems weak as fuck. Oh, I shouldn't swear. Weak AF. What could you do? You could potentially, right? If you're thinking that this is... Hey, not sure if anyone has asked, but what website is this? If we get Foden down to either like a Grealish or a Sancho... You could even then do like Diaz down to Perisic. This is for those... I caught myself just. I think I still swore. Going to get demonetized. Oh, no. I tried to keep this a family-friendly channel. Some people watch it with their kids in the background. I don't want to swear. What was I doing? Colback. You can then get a really sort of good second sub, like an Anthony Gordon, whoever you want. Maybe like a Ramsey. Jacob Ram... Oh, for God's sake, type Raptor. Ramsey like that. Colback's definitely a £4.5 million confirmed on the Nottingham Forest website, Michael. Would you get demonetized for swearing? I show Speed swears all the time on YouTube stream. You have to... I don't know, to be fair. Some bigger channels that get away with it. You're supposed to put it as 18 plus if you swear, and mine are definitely not 18 plus. I tick suitable for kids because I don't say anything or do anything that's not suitable for kids. What was I saying? Yeah, so I know it doesn't look as great, but you can do that where you can upgrade the bench. Now I've got sort of Lamptey and Ramsey as my bench. Why is nobody picking Doherty, one of the best £5 million defenders for sure? He's not definitely fit. He's still injured. So it's whether he recovers. The other issue you've got is that you've got Emerson Royale, and you've also got... They're looking to sign Jed Spence or another right-back. Which is the Man United striker that they are linked with? I don't think we're linked with a striker, are we? Unless something's happened whilst I'm streaming. We're linked with Anthony, who's a right winger. / left winger. Saka over Foden. Would you consider bringing Jesus in? Yeah, I will be considering Jesus for sure. Definitely. I don't think the weak bench matters as much personally. Right? Which is what Frost just asked. Does a weak bench matter? Managers have 5 subs, so those most likely will play something. By the way, what site can I do this on? I'm gonna ban you from Discord and from the channel if you ask that. What was it in? Back to Colback. So maybe Martial is a nice option. Yeah, we said that in the stream from a couple of days ago. By the way, if you want to go back, I've been streaming 4 nights in a row. So if you've been enjoying these streams, the same things still apply in those streams. You can go back and watch it. But we said either Martial or Rashford. If we sell Ronaldo and we don't sign a striker, either Martial or Rashford will be playing through the middle. United are linked with Dybala. I don't think we're going to sign Dybala. I think that's just a journalist just making that up because he's a free agent. I mean, I suppose we could. I can't see it though. Don't you afraid from KANE and Son? Afraid's the wrong word. Yes, they're going to do well, but I don't expect. You can't afford everyone. You can't afford everyone. Martial is back. Martial is back. He's back and he's ready to go. Ice cold Tony. Dybala can come if Ronaldo goes. I agree. The reason that we weren't looking at Dybala probably was because you didn't want us to play in the same team as Ronaldo. But I suppose if Ronaldo goes, maybe Dybala comes in. We free up some wages. He'd be the main man. Maybe. I think that I'm looking at this draft thinking, do I want to change it at all? Like I said, if the game were to go live. I suppose the final thing you could do is rather than Laporte, you could get rid of the City defence altogether, go for Chilwell, and then go for like Raya. Something like that. Let me line them up. If you want to know what I'm doing, I'm just lining up the players a little bit so that it's a little bit neater. I do this with my FPL team. There you go. Oh, it's still not very neat, though. Looks a bit gross. Ignore me. It's horrible. What was happening? Do you not prefer Saka, Ross? His fixtures look decent. I just don't know if he... Maybe. I'm probably in my team, like I said, I'm probably going to have 2 £8 million options in midfield. There's just so many to pick from. Let's have a look, actually. Right, £8 million midfielders. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 confirmed. And if Rafinha is 8, which FPL team is predicting him to be, we'd have 8. Saka, Mount, Maddison, Luis Diaz, Mahrez, Foden, Kulusevski, and maybe Rafinha. There are so many good £8 million midfielders. I genuinely do think that you're going to want at least 1, probably 2 in your team, and then just switch off of them. Start with Diaz and Foden, then maybe switch to Mahrez and Maddison, Saka, etc. You don't have to stick with these players for the entire season, so feel free to choose a couple, have that as a good structure, and then switch off of them after that. Right, guys. I think we're going to leave it there because we're going to be streaming tomorrow for when the game goes live. And then there's going to be a first draft video and then there's going to be loads of content coming. So I don't want to bore you. I don't want you to be bored of my big bald head. So I think we're going to leave it there. Let me cut scene to this. Thank you very, very much for tuning in today. I really do appreciate it. And thank you very much for helping me to hit 16,000 subscribers. Appreciate it more than you know. Like I said, we're going to push for 20,000 subscribers before the start of the season. Fingers crossed we can get close, even if we don't hit it. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's stream. Make sure to subscribe. Drop a like on the way out. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, see you later.